So let's see how the game works. But first, some basic rules. So first, there's no communication between positions. The only communication between positions should be through passing of orders and receiving products as the game proceeds. We'll see that later on, but we have cards representing orders and we have chips representing products. So basically, there's no talking between any people who are uh, not belonging to the same role. Of course, if there are two people playing the role of consumers, of retailers or distributors, they can talk. They cannot talk to the rest of the elements in the supply chain. Retailers are the only ones who know what the customer actually orders. This is very important. And the game will be up to 50 weeks long. It depends on the time we have, but at most we will be playing 50 weeks. So the mechanics is the following. I've selected the wholesaler with the rest of the stages, but for the manufacturer, the producer is very slightly different. But let's see how the wholesaler works. So what you see is some cells in blue, which corresponds to what the wholesaler has to manage and what he or she should pay attention to. And first, we have the current inventory. This is where this represents the cases you have to fulfill the demands of the following stage. Okay, so in this case, we start with a 12 chips representing 12 cases. To the right, we have the shipping delays, which are 2, which represent the products that will be received in the future weeks, but still are in transit. So this shipping delay contains 4, in this case, 4 cases that will be delivered next week, and these are the 4 cases will be delivered in 2 weeks because they will have to go through this shipping delay and eventually arrive at our current inventory position where we will have them available to fulfill our demand. So this here represents the time for whatever we have ordered previously, uh, the time it takes for it to arrive to our inventory and have it available for fulfilling our demand. We also have the incoming orders, which are the orders that have been placed by our customer. Okay, in our case, it's the distributor. Okay, because our customer, we are the wholesalers. It's the retailer, and the retailer will place orders with us, and we will have to fulfill the demand. Okay, and we are the customers of the distributor, which is upstream the supply chain. Okay, so the distributor provides us with cases, and we do the same with the retailer. And finally, we have this a blue position here, square here, which is orders placed, where we will place our orders. So the incoming orders we see are those the next stage, and the ones we place are the ones that will be seen later on by the one which is previously in the supply chain, in this case the distributor. So we take a look when required how the orders we receive here, and we will write an order with a number here. We will place the car in this area here. Okay, so let's see how it works. So I've shadowed in gray what doesn't correspond to what we have to pay attention to, although of course it's relevant for the supply chain to work. So first, what we will do is we will receive inventory. Okay, so we have in this case the chip representing the different cases we have in our supply chain. This corresponds to the initial situation. Okay, but it will change as we play the game. Sorry. there we are. So the first thing is, oh yes, well, I was in the right slide. The first thing, these are in different colors to see how it works. So these chips here, these cases here, are about to be moved to our inventory, and these are going to move forward to another shipping delay. So the first thing we will do is to slide those chips so that inventory which was in transit is now in our in our warehouse, and those that were in this shipping delay are now closer to us. So it's just moving cases towards our inventory. This is the first step. So it's like slide. We slide this and we slide this, and materials, in this case, our cases are closer to us. Second, we fill incoming orders. This should be a 2 here. Okay? We fill incoming orders. That means that we get this card which from this square. It'll be there will be a single card here, and we see it. It's only us who sees that, and we'll see a 4. This will happen for the first 4 weeks for us to understand the mechanics, but then that'll change. Okay, so we see a 4. That means that the retailer has placed an order of 4 cases, so we should deliver those 4 cases from our inventory. So what we do is, in that case, we move those 4 cases we had, we move them to the shipping delay. So we don't have them anymore in our system, but we can see it this way. Okay, we have this 4 we had here, and we're going to move them to the next shipping delay, and they will eventually arrive at the customers, our customers' inventory, which is in this case the retailer. Okay, so that's the second stage. Once we have received the inventory in the first stage, in the second we will fulfill the incoming orders. Then we move to the third stage, okay, where we advance order slips, which means at some point in time, in our case, the retailer has put a card here, which orders placed. So what we do is we move this card. There's this question mark because we cannot see it. It is upside down. We cannot see the number that the retailer has written on it. So it's moved to the incoming orders. So remember that in the previous step we uncovered this card. Now it's empty. So we advance. There's a card to occupy this place so that we can take a look at it later on. This is the third step. And finally, okay, we have the fourth step, which is placing an order. So according to the demand we had, according to the situation we are in terms of inventory or the inventory we're going to receive, we put a card here, we write a number on it, so that this is the demand that the next stage, or the upstream stage, in this case the distributor, will see in the future. Okay, so to summarize and to see the whole board, it works as follows. First, I haven't represented the chips here, but the first thing we will do is to move inventory or materials towards the next square. First we do where we have the ones, and then we do the twos. In this case, okay, with the factory it works exactly the same. We have to, instead of shipping delay, it's production delays. Okay, because once we start the production, it takes some time for materials to be available in the current inventory. Okay, so they are called production delay, but they work exactly the same. So we move what we have here to the current inventory square, and we move these materials here in this production delay to the next production delay. So this is the first step. Second, we fill incoming orders. So each stage looks at the square, the card where we have incoming orders. This is the one the wholesaler has to look at. This is the one of the distributor, and this is the one. Sorry, the distributor, and this is the manufacturer. This is a typo here. This should concrete manufacturer. Okay, and in the case of the retailer, which is here, what they have to do is to look at these cards which are prepared for you. This is the demand that uh, you'll have to fulfill at every week. So there's no one writing anything here. The cards are already there for the customer, which will be played by someone in the group. Will tell only to the retailer. So this is the second step, fulfilling. So for that, you pick the card, you take whatever you have in your current inventory, and you put it in the shipping delay. Okay. In the case of the production stage, again this is typo. The red is the production stage. You'll take a look at the incoming orders here. Sorry, yes, at the incoming orders from the distributor, and you'll place whatever is requested in the shipping delay. One important remark here is that the amount you have to fulfill is the sum of the new orders, what you have read from these cards, plus the backlog of that week. So, if for example the retailer had a backlog of 2 cases and there is a demand of 4 cases, that means that he or she will have to fulfill 6 cases. The 2 that wasn't able to deliver in previous weeks, plus the new 4 that are the demand of this week, and the same goes for the rest of stages. This is step 2. Okay, then you will record the inventory or the backlog. You have a gsheet. So if after doing so, if after trying to fulfill or actually fulfilling the demand of that week, you have inventory, you still have chips here or here or here or here, okay, you will have to record the inventory corresponding to that week. And if you have inventory, that means you don't have backlog, because if you had enough inventory, you would have fulfilled all the demand, so your backlog is 0. Or on the contrary, you have tried to fulfill the demand but didn't have enough, you'll have 0 inventory and some backlog that you will try to fulfill next week. So in that case, you record 0 here and the backlog here. Okay, it's one of these is always 0 and the other one has the corresponding value. Third step is, okay, you advance order slips. So the orders you placed somewhere, you move it as incoming orders, and the same goes for the rest of the stages. Okay. In the case of the manufacturer, you have production requests, but instead of place order, production requests are moved as production. What you do is move that, whatever you have here, you move it to the production delay. I will explain that to that in more detail when the time comes. And finally, you place the orders, okay, which means that since you know what are the situation, what's your situation now, you place new orders. So you write a number and you put it into this square here, and this will be moved to that stage, to that new square later on. Okay, but now it's the time for you to decide how much you're going to order, and you're going to log that in your G sheet. Okay, you have a column here which is your order, and at the end of each week you will record the order that you placed for it to be fulfilled later on by your supplier. Okay, and to summarize, first you receive inventory and advance the shipping delays. The factory advances the production delay. Okay. Second, you look at incoming orders and fill orders. Retailer looks at customer orders. Factory looks at incoming orders, not the production request. Okay. And the products to the factory I'll take care of it when we play the game. Okay. And in any case, the orders to fulfill the number of cases to deliver is the new orders of that week plus the backlog from the last week. If you have enough inventory, all incoming orders plus orders in backlog must be fulfilled, and record the new inventory. But if you don't have enough, if the inventory is insufficient, you fulfill the orders plus backlog. Okay, you know, sorry, if you don't have enough inventory to fulfill both orders plus the backlog, you ship all the inventory you have, and you have to record the remaining unfulfilled orders as your new backlog. Then you advance the order slips, okay, from orders placed to incoming orders. Okay, the factory converts the production request from last week into cases of production. Put the cases first, as in the first production delay. Again, I will tell this to the people in the factory, and then finally you place orders and record the numbers of the orders you placed. Okay, factory, instead of placing orders, what does is records a production request, because they do not have a supplier to request cases from. Okay, and uh, all uh, cards are placed face down so that the numbers written on it are not seen. And you'll have these gsheets, different colors according to the role you're playing in the board. Okay, so that's how we are going to play, and these are the basic rules that will be more understandable as we play, because what we have say initial conditions where each player will have an initial inventory of 12 cases, and we will have 4 cases in each shipping delay or production delay for the case of the factory. And we have orders, which 4 units, 4 cases, um, in the position, or we have the incoming orders. And for the first 4 weeks, we are playing very simply, because it's compulsory that custom orders are always 4 cases per week, and the players will request as well 4 cases per week. So the board won't change much during those 4 weeks, because we will have a demand of 4, and we will have enough inventory to deliver it, and we will see that it doesn't change much. So the thing is that for these 4 weeks, we see the mechanics and we understand it, and when we start the 5th week, it can start changing. So the thing is that since we are always requesting these 4 cases, okay, and we also have 4 cases in the shipping delays, we will have no issues, and this will go very smoothly. We will exactly request what we receive, so we will get back to the same position for the first 4 weeks, and then when we start the 5th week, we will have the chance to decide what to do. Okay, so these are the mechanics of the game, and we will understand that when we get to the board. And finally, when we get to the end of the game, we'll calculate the cost, as we said, for every week and each position. We'll have the cost of the total inventory times 0.5, which is the cost of the current cost, the value of the current cost, and the same for the backlog. But instead of having half a euro, we'll have €1 for backlog each week. Okay, and then we will be able to see graphs and see how things evolved. But the gsheets are prepared to get that easily. You don't have to be worried about that. You just have to remember the steps and think about what to order in order to remember have the minimum cost when you operate your supply chain.